that's a good point to stop it. Duncan can stop dancing. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cloudy with Charts and Games, the home of the cloud gaming community. Caught you off guard, haven't I?
We're just taking the rule book and
I think so. Yeah, I thought that was a good point in the music. Stop it. I
was still doing my hands up in the air and everything.
I know you were. And I was trying to catch you out, but it's time for. Yes, it's Friday night. It's time for our Cloudy Roundup. We go through all the cloud gaming platforms and talk about the news for each of them individually, whether it's been good or bad or in between. And normally there's a rant about at least one of the platforms, so stay tuned for that. I've got a feeling we're going to have one again. Duncan's still dancing. The music has stopped, Duncan.
Yes, I believe it or not, I don't think the rant will be coming from me today.
You might be right. Might be right. But yes, joining me, Sammy McLeod, we have Barry 100 himself.
Good evening. And hope everybody's doing good.
And of course, the aforementioned evil Duncan.
Evil Duncan. Yes, I was on mute because I had to make sure it was muted just in case I said anything else. Evil Duncan is here, yes, to slag off everything under the sun.
So I think we ought to get going. I think Barry's in charge of talk about first.
Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go?
We're going to go for first.
Boom. Let's kick it off with that.
Top of the shadow, yes. So,
now you've got me all confused.
I've put extra captions on, yes, because we've had some good news for quite a lot of the platforms this week. Shadow, as we know, for the last couple of months, has had some financial difficulties. They've been looking for a new buyer. It seems today, announcement came out, or at least something's been reported on, that they do have a buyer. It is
Jasmine Ventures.
There you go.
That's the bad boys.
I'm glad I brought you along. But yeah, what do we think, chaps?
I don't know if this is the good one or the bad one. I think it's, if I remember right, it's the not so great one for Shadow gaming purposes. I'm happy to be corrected. I think we wanted the other one to win for Shadow to remain in its current form of sorts. So it is going to be interesting to see how this goes forward. I think there's still another couple of hoops to go through. So at least it's found a buyer, I would say. If it's the bad one, I think we're going to get a notice of when Shadow may be going into some other sort of form. But let's hope not, because it will mess things up for us.
Well, yes. Yeah, it definitely will. And I think if I'd seen a tweet from their official Twitter account earlier saying that they're really happy to join the, I might do a Duncan and butcher this, but I'm going to say Hubic or either Hub IC. Don't know which one it is. I'm not 100% clear, so we'll give both iterations. They're happy to be part of their, that kind of family of kind of companies, and they are going to be having a discussion to share more on the future. They basically said that they need to have a chat, in essence, and then kind of we'll share more on the future of Shadow, kind of when they can. So I don't know. I think you would automatically kind of go to good news because it's like Shadow has a buyer. But then I think, with the point Duncan was making, and then when you kind of see, kind of social media posts like that, it does kind of make you wonder whether, it's going to look different to how it does now.
I tend to agree. So I found out about this literally about 20 minutes before we went live. From our friends over at Cloud Gaming Extreme, they posted a short video on it, saying that as Duncan suspected, it is they didn't use the term bad, obviously, but the more B2B, business to business oriented company looking at buying it, rather than business to consumer, which is what we'd be aiming for. There was some speculation about whether prices would go up. I always was quite surprised at how cheap Shadow would be for what it is.
Oh, good news! Sammy's paying for Shadow now. Yes.
No. I know. I said my work contract's been extended, but no, not by enough to pay for that. It's hopefully we won't see too much change in sort of the current uses for Shadow, and they'll look to expand their services rather than trying to reallocate. But I'm not so sure. It's whether people start to get forced away from Shadow and start thinking whatever alternatives are there. There's a Russian-owned company called Loudplay, which I think has been talked about recently. It's a slightly different way of billing. They bill per hour of usage as opposed to a set monthly fee. But I'm not as convinced on their offering compared to Shadow.
Yeah. My take on this here, since things look like it's now all done. The report I seen, it was a couple of hours ago. It sounded like there was a couple more boxes to be ticked. So obviously the boxes have been ticked now. I think Shadow is safe for the next couple of months, no matter what. Now, I think you won't see any dramatic changes, and if it goes business to business as we're thinking, it looks more likely to go that route. I think we're going to be given a notice period, like 3, 6, 12 months.
It will not be happening overnight.
Yeah. Sorry, Duncan, you carry on.
No, I am muted, so don't be worried.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, whilst you were talking there, I just had a quick look at. I'm going to go with Hubic. That kind of feels like the right thing to say. And they appear to be an online file storage company. So specializing in cloud storage. So kind of it is a very, when you kind of do look at the picture of that kind of acquisition, it kind of does make you think it could definitely be more of a B2B route, especially with when you're talking about file storage and kind of apps to kind of put your files into an online space and that sort of thing. It is different to what we know. So, but watch this space.
Speaking of file storage, I got a new toy.
It's turned into an unboxing video all of a sudden.
Okay, we'll unbox it live.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it just came off like that. I'll just rip this apart here.
So try and plug it into your PlayStation, will you?
No, there we go. Look how I know.
Tell the boys and girls what Santa gave you.
I know Barry and Sammy, you hear this all a lot, but look how small it is. So we will unbox it. This is a SSD. It's a 1 terabyte SSD because I needed it there. So there we go. A live unboxing since we were talking about storage. And there we go. A new SSD for Duncan to make some more awful videos.
So basically what, I forgot their name again. Hubic? I don't know.
Yeah.
People who bought Shadow, what they need to do is just send them loads and loads of SSDs and they'll be fine. That's exactly what they want to do with it.
Yep.
Yep.
And since I've started that, I suppose I should finish it here and plug it in. That would be a good start, wouldn't it? Get it going here. There we go. Now it is now being plugged in. There we go. And unboxing and setting up live on air.
There we go. Job done. Shall we move on to the next one?
Yes.
I think we've reached a conclusion on Shadow.
Okay.
So we'll keep monitoring the news, and whenever they have their live stream or video out to talk about where their future is, I'm sure we'll have our opinions and reacting to it.
Indeed.
Whoa!
Slightly delayed reaction there, Doug.
Yes.
Yeah, PlayStation Now. I wasn't sure what actually has happened in the world PlayStation Now when I was writing these additional captions. But obviously last night we did have the PlayStation State of Play where they revealed Subnautica, Among Us with an exclusive Ratchet & Clank skin for the astronauts, whatever you call them. And the main title piece, and the thing I've been most excited about for ages, is the Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart gameplay. for those of you who don't know, Ratchet & Clank is a series I've been massively interested in from basically when I started gaming back in 2001, 2002. I'm really excited about what Rift Apart has to offer, and it seems everyone else is as well.
Yes, most definitely.
That would be me. My turn to speak here.
Yeah, why not?
I suppose I'll speak here. I'm too busy multitasking. Oh, there we go. It's working now. The Ratchet and Clank last night, absolutely amazing looking. It shows you where gaming is going. I know a lot of people were not. I know some people were coming away going, I didn't really see a lot of difference. I don't really see what's going on there. Go rewatch it in 4K. It's not look at the character animation models, and more importantly, look at the whole thing. The amount of cars going on, that is just completely and utterly breathtaking in the world of gaming. And it is really stepping up games going forward, and I'm pre-ordering it. So that will be fun at some stage. I am going to be getting that. I wasn't expecting any PlayStation Now stuff from it last night, following that event, but PlayStation Now is just, I think we're going to see where it is going to be going shortly with E3 and stuff coming up. I think we're going to see a bit of a change there. What I am semi-expecting is we are going to see the PlayStation exclusives drop onto PlayStation Now, but
Please.
don't wave.
Please. Ratchet & Clank and Gran Turismo is all I want. Honestly.
What I'm thinking is there's going to be a delay. It won't be going to end date. It will be a year, maybe 2 years, but they will no longer leave. That is my feeling. How they're going to counteract Game Pass. If you want to play these games straight away, you have to buy them. But if you want to wait, you can wait. But the PlayStation games, we were talking about this, wasn't it last night? PlayStation games are in the Nintendo sort of realm. When one of their big studios drops a game, you know it is going to be a great game, and that's where Nintendo is. And Xbox is not there yet. They do have some good games, but they don't. If Xbox drop a game, you're not 100% sure if it's going to be a banger or not. That is a slight difference, and I'm hoping with the investments they're making it the best chance possible for it. But I thought Ratchet and Clank looked absolutely amazing, and when I rewatched it in 4K, it was even better. It just even stepped up a further bit. So, Sarah, if you didn't watch it in 4K, go watch it in 4K. It's just wow. It's just breathtaking. And remember, this is YouTube quality. This isn't watching it in front of you quality, because you know that will pick up again.
Yeah. I was super impressed with how Ratchet and Clank looked last night. It was the one thing that, I know we knew that the state of play was only going to be sort of 15, 20 minutes, but it was the thing that made me want to tune in just to kind of see the reveal, see what was going on with it, and see how good it looked. And yeah, there was points when you are kind of sat watching it in 4K and you're just blown away. Even like when they were world jumping as well, you just kind of look at that.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize how intensive that is and how groundbreaking that is. Jumping from one world to another in the brink of an eye, that is stuff which hasn't really been done before. We've seen teases of it this year with the Medium. But this is just taking that to a complete and utterly different place. And this is why it is so exciting, and why ding, 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 SSDs are so important.
We're going to link every single platform back to SSDs now. Just briefly, PlayStation Now, they announced PlayStation Plus games for May, but they haven't yet announced the PlayStation Now games. They normally do that once the month has begun, though. So we should be expecting something like that possibly over the weekend, bank holiday weekend in the UK.
Yep, hopefully. I'm hoping we get something big. And what I think they should do, but they won't do, and we will call them out as we call out all platforms, is if for people who don't know, if you go on PlayStation Now and you've got a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, you can download a load of the games as well. They really need to follow Xbox's suit and allow the free upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version, like we don't have with Avengers and Borderlands and stuff like that. They need to do that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I think we've come to a natural conclusion on that. We've done our SSD reference. Moving on.
Should we carry on?
Hashtag not sponsored. Yeah.
You're missing out the vital bit from the hockey, aren't you? You need the
yes.
Oh, you didn't even do it. It's been that long since you've been to the hockey that you've missed it.
Yes, it's okay. Okay, off you go.
Woo! There we go. Oh dear.
And Kelly's doing that up the stairs as well. She's upstairs now at the hockey.
And me, I love it. It's brilliant. And then it sits in your head for days on end after.
Yes.
Anyway, I should continuing with the theme, I guess, of SSD and kind of upgrades.
Whoa!
Obviously, Xcloud has had its first full week since kind of availability on iOS and on PC through a web browser. And of course, as we all know, Duncan has now had it for 2 days. He had it for 1 day yesterday. He's now had it for 2 days. And he's been playing with his Kishi and his iOS device locked in. What have your thoughts been?
Yeah, my thoughts are if there's one thing I could change on Xcloud, this is going to be a running joke all bloody night, isn't it? And you were just setting me up for this, weren't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
The only thing I would change at this moment in time for Xcloud is SSD. It needs SSDs. That is the biggest bottleneck for me at this moment in time on Xcloud. The service itself, I've done a couple of tests, and I have to say Xcloud is working phenomenally well for me. Over the last couple of days, it is tying in just, I'm not talking about how good the games look, I'm just talking about how the games run, as in running through the cloud. And running in the cloud, Xbox is hand in hand with GeForce Now. And
that's high praise from you.
That is high praise for me. And I know with some of cloud gaming, everybody's experience is different, but over the last couple of months for me, Stadia's performance has slipped, and Stadia for me is as a cloud gaming, just to play in the cloud is in third place now. I think there's something going on there, and I think it needs a couple of tweaks. Where it might be the server I'm connecting to or something, but it is not looking and playing as well as the other platforms at this moment in time. And I think it just needs a bit of a tweak somehow. But Xcloud, I am really, really impressed. As soon as that gets the Series X blades and the SSDs, I think they are in the business, and it is going to get extremely exciting going forward. And I think it's going to shake up things quite a bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, certainly, I felt like the Android version, I think as we were saying last night on the Green Room, the Android version feels like it's kind of stepped up a bit. In terms of quality, and then my experience in kind of the browser has been really, really impressive. I jumped in and had a bit of a look at Second Extinction this week, which has come straight into Game Pass, which is a game preview title, which is literally, if you've not checked it out, it's definitely worth kind of checking it out. Man versus dinosaur, I think, is probably the best way to term it. But it's certainly one of those titles where you kind of excel if you're playing in a clan. You're gonna rather than kind of playing on your own, you're going to be much stronger and you're going to achieve more kind of playing as a group, I feel, because the kind of difficulty level. But yeah, the thing I noticed with that is, considering it's in preview, it's not a kind of, it's not like it's a finished, polished game that's dropping in. The optimization for that in the cloud was pretty impressive, especially for a shooter as well. I was quite impressed with it.
I brought this up because I do want the answer to this, and I can give you.
Yeah.
That is the correct answer. And how do we know it's going to get mouse and keyboard support? It's in testing your knowledge here, because we talked about it last night. Barry, this is doubly for you.
So it's testing Barry's knowledge. It's testing my guesswork, because I wasn't.
Yeah. Don't be testing my knowledge after the day I've had.
When I start to talk, I think you're going to go, yes. Phil Spencer has already stated that. Finish it off. That's just Georgia has. Oh no, that there is plans to bring games from Game Pass for PC to Xcloud. So in order for them games to work, they will need keyboard and mouse support.
Yeah.
So I think that answers that question. That I think it's just a matter of time. And just remember, the Xbox already supports mouse and keyboard. I think they're just trying to keep things simple at this moment in time. It's just a matter of when, rather than
baby steps.
Exactly, because
it's a baby step. They made a big step last week, obviously bringing it to PC and iOS.
And I'm just going to say one thing and I'll let you finish now, because it's
beta.
There we go.
or early access, or any of these things which a lot of the platforms use to sort of get people to understand why these developments are coming. I was going to say get out of it, but that's going to cause an argument somewhere down the line. I say that, I think. My thoughts on Xcloud, I think it's brilliant. I haven't got it yet. Obviously, I only signed up to Game Pass Ultimate recently. As a service, I think it's absolutely brilliant. It does mean that very soon I have 2 copies of FIFA 2021, because that's dropping on EA Play as a full game rather than a 10-hour demo.
Yep.
Are the EA game? Let me start again. Are the EA Play games available on Xcloud? Duncan's been shaking his head all the way through.
The only one is Madden 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it can be done, but it's not being done on all of them at the moment.
Yes, we were speculating again. We're going into a lot of depth on all platforms, so we do. So you can check out our shows. Last night was Xboxes, and we actually touched on this about the EA sort of.
Really should have been watching, shouldn't I?
Yes, and it's a bit of a talking point in that are they being blocked? Are EA blocking it? Is another platform blocking them? Could it be a combination of both? Could EA be launching their cloud service and they don't want to put the games onto the cloud? There's just lots and lots of things going on there. Again, do we want to go down speculation alley, or shouldn't we go down speculation alley? I would say not.
We'll move on. We'll pass it.
You would say, but could I get you to say in 30 seconds why you think not?
Okay. Why I shouldn't go down speculation alley?
You should go. I thought you said why they wouldn't come to Xcloud. Sorry.
Or for Xcloud, because I think they're going to. I think they're either they've tied themselves up to another platform, or they're going to be launching their own platform. I think it's one of them two.
Similar to Epic Games.
Yes, I think I think there is something going on there, and it's just something to keep an eye on that too. Do we see an EA Cloud channel coming soon, like Ubisoft Plus?
You've got 2 options as to where to go next, then Barry, haven't you? I was teeing up one service, that tees up a different one.
I was going in a different direction with the next banner, but hey, it's fine. We can go down this route.
Go down this route. It's nailed on. It's just themselves, Lena, and I do not think it's going to Stadia for one simple reason. and
Player
everybody's
numbers.
Nope.
Oh.
Number of games.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's just a simple. It's just a simple numbers game of the games, because there just isn't enough of them to justify it. Could you justify £5-10 a month for the EA games at this moment in time? £20 for the year. But the thing is, you would only get last year's versions, and you don't have the other games to supplement it like you've got on the other ones. I could see it going to Luna, no problem. They'll just bring it across to Luna because it's PC versions of the games, and you can just dump a load on there. Could see it going to Xcloud if they're not launching something and they're maybe just negotiating, looking for a bit more money, or they could be just launching their own one. There's just so much going on.
There is indeed.
But on the positive side for Stadia, in regards to this, they have got Frostbite ported across. For people who don't know, Frostbite is their main game engine, so it should be an easier hurdle for them to bring the games across.
From what we've seen on FIFA and Madden, the games do run very well on Stadia.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen people playing FIFA. I've not played it myself on Stadia, but I have played Madden on Stadia, and it does play. It does play exceptionally well in the cloud. Should we go to our next one?
Yep.
Are we ready?
I'll take a back seat on this one because I've got no idea.
I'm going to say this: Luna has had a phenomenal week, but we'll let Barry go through because he's got the notes right in front of him here.
Yeah, I have. Hang on, bear with me. Shall I share my screen? Should we do that? Why don't I do that?
Make sure it's not the other screen you're sharing.
Yeah.
We don't want that any of them dodgy sites coming up again. I do this the word again.
Hang on a minute, then. Let me close everything down. Bear with me 2 seconds.
While we're waiting for that, Happy's actually got a question here. Can EA survive on their own cloud service, or do they make a cloud channel to bring it to Luna, GFN, and Xcloud? Do you want to kick that off? Yes, you kick it off.
Yeah, you would do very well under this hypothetical idea that Stadia would turn into a white label service, and EA would just put their cloud gaming channel out there. No, Duncan's saying no.
No, that's why I did not want to go down speculation alley, because that's where I was going.
But I think you go there. I do think it makes a lot of sense. Maybe I listen to you too much, Duncan, but I think that would be the sensible route for them to go down. Is that they don't shell out a massive amount of money building the infrastructure. They just slap their logo on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the way they attack but the way they position themselves on the PC front, if you look at Origin and kind of that tight integration with the EA games on there, you could certainly see something like whether it be Origin EA channel, or whether it be Origin Cloud or something similar running on somebody else's tech. So, it's entirely possible, isn't it?
I'm just going to add into this as well. And Kizball, we will come to your point there. I can have a brilliant discussion about that, and I will speak about that. No, and it's not going to be negative. It is going to be
no.
It's going to be fruitful.
I'm just chuckling about something else to do with ARC and the obvious questions about that this week.
Yes. So what were we doing here? I think EA could survive on their own because they've got exclusive IPs, what people want. If EA decided to say, we're going 100% cloud here, and we are not dropping FIFA, Madden, NHL, Mass Effect, what other games do they have here? Command and Conquer,
Battlefield.
Yes.
F1 these days.
F1. I'll ask you guys, if F1 was available on EA Cloud,
yes.
Battlefield.
Yeah,
you don't need to finish that. I know where you're going with it. Yes.
This is why, and this is something I keep on harping on about, exclusive games matter. And this is what we're going to see. And it is going to become publishers are going to launch their own services. This is why first party is important, etc., etc., etc. And this is why we're seeing so much mergers and acquisitions, because people are just trying to build up their libraries. If you really want to be... If you're really into the geeky sort of stuff and you want to follow this, the one to follow is actually Embracer. I think Embracer is making some real intriguing pickups. They're either expanding out massively to be picked up by one of the big boys, or they're going to make a big play soon for something completely different. So keep an eye on Embracer. So EA, yes, they could survive on their own cloud service, no problem at all because of that. And if you want to further back that up, if you go into the EA Play Store, that I always get the terms mixed up, the EA Play Ultimate version, they actually drop in massive games into that which aren't on EA. They've put in, I can't even remember some of the games, but there's some
day and date stuff. FIFA is on EA Play Ultimate.
Yeah, you get the end of their games, the ultimate versions, and you get Brucey bonuses as well. But there's also games from like third-party ones go completely outside it, and I think there's been a couple day-and-date ones, but they're more like they're either like older AAA games or high-profile indie games. So yes, I think they could survive. They've got the pockets to actually go out there and do it. So yeah. So
excellent. Anybody else want to add anything?
No, I think we've had enough time to work out what we're going to say about Luna.
Okay.
Well, you guys have. I still don't know what I'm going to say about Luna.
I'm
you
sure
guys talk, and I'll see if I can chip in wherever I can.
I'm sure you can chip in on on this one. So obviously they put a series of tweets out yesterday on social media and updated their blog post, obviously just reaffirming the games that they had arrive in the service in April, which obviously was Ghost Runner, Ride 4, Call of the Sea, and Narita Boy. And then that was kind of very swiftly followed up with the announcement that in May they're going to be adding the Wonderful 101 Remastered, The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4, Rad, and Rogue Heroes Ruins of Tassos to the Luna Plus channel.
Duncan's saying your verse.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Tassos or Tassos. I don't know. Yeah. Or Tassos. I don't know.
Barry, can you scroll back up there for 1 wee second, please?
Of course I can.
I'm just going to point this out. Just like GFM, there was a Brucey bonus for Luna Plus in April. Ride 4 was not announced as coming to the platform, and it was added. So I think that is worth putting out. Again, I'm going to be honest here. I don't think they're adding enough games fast enough. However, the subscription is starting to look absolutely real value for money at $6 a month, basically. I'm not going to say the full thing. And it is starting to really pick up some, and we say it all the time, they're picking up clever games. The Wonderful 101 Remastered, that was an under the gem on the Wonderful 101 on the Wii U. And I know a lot of people are wanting to give that a try because it never had a Wii U. And I think it's been to the Switch as well. My head's like a sieve. And it's made by Platinum Games. So that's a great wee pickup there. And again, they just seem to pick up these games. And again, we say it all the time. It looks like there's someone in charge there who's a gamer and goes, "This is a game we should be going after." They're going under the radar games which have good reputations, games which have got a cult following. It just seemed to be really, really clever, and it doesn't seem to be a scattergun approach to what games come to the platform.
Yeah, I think they are kind of. I know you touched on it in terms of the number of games. It does feel a little bit like they're kind of, despite the fact that, but I know we talk about all the time the fact they're in early access. It does kind of feel like they're kind of walking that very fine line or that tightrope between kind of, they're not necessarily going for masses and masses of quantity. They're building up the library, I would say, consistently, but at a consistently slower pace than maybe kind of any other service that are out there. But the actual quality and the selection and the variety of titles that they're dropping into the service, is very clearly calculated. As you say, we've spoken about numerous times. And I think it just goes to show, that the number of games that are in there. I mean, we've seen things like the Legend of Heroes, Trials of Cold Steel come into other platforms, other installments that, they're dropping into other platforms and they're available in the cloud. It kind of makes sense now that what we're starting to see is some of those developers that are invested in the cloud are clearly kind of rolling out to a number of services just to kind of see what the playing field's like, how they pan out, and kind of where is the right space for their games to be accessible and to be played and enjoyed.
I think Sammy's just enjoying and listening to us talk at this moment.
I'm enjoying watching the GIF roll around, and I'm also trying to think, how many games on Luna would you say test the service that much? I mean, these are all 16-bit games, all very enjoyable, but not. I guess obviously you've got the Ubisoft Plus games with stuff like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That would be. Are there any other games that would be a bit more, I don't want to say mainstream, but out there pushing the boundaries of what Luna can offer?
I think the game I'm going to mention, I think just sums up what sort of games they're actually going for in Luna, and it's Control. Its Control is on Luna. So, you know what I mean?
Gems.
Yes, exactly. That's what they seem to be putting onto the service. And they've also got a couple of sports titles. There's a couple of tennis games. I know maybe tennis games aren't going to test the system, but they've been out just a couple of months. We're probably coming up to about a year now, but we're talking still pretty recent sort of games. But this is why I'm excited about Luna. It's a subscription model, which I absolutely love. I've said that so many times. I love the subscription model because it just equalizes everybody for games for everybody. Everybody can jump in. And if we're going to be doing play-alongs on Luna, which I think we will be at some stage, we know everybody will have access to the whole Luna Plus library. And we don't have to worry about what games we choose, because when we're doing our play-alongs, we have to think carefully what games we have to play, because to make sure it's a wide enough audience for everybody. And with Luna, we don't. It's just, there is games on with tested, all the Ubisoft Plus games, and we've seen some of the pictures out there and comparisons, and Luna is actually comparing pretty well with the other platforms. Sometimes it's actually came out in top compared to the other platforms as well. So I think it's in a good spot, and I just love the way they're picking up their games.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think there's a couple actually that probably dropped, did drop in April, which I think, if you're fair to them, will probably give the service a good test in Ghost Runner and Ride 4. Ride 4 does tend to, having seen it run on other platforms, it's obviously a fast-paced game, and it's relatively good looking with its surroundings. So I think there'd be an element of that would give it a little bit of a test on that front. The other one, again, I would say would be Ghost Runner, because Ghost Runner, if you think about that kind of cyberpunky kind of world, the scenario, the environment that it's in, and then the way that it's kind of ticked over, because again, Ghost Runner is another one of those fast-paced games, which for cloud, and when you're trying to test a cloud service, is a great shout, because you kind of need to be looking at how responsive it is, and kind of how well it's coping, on a frame rate perspective as well. And I think those two titles probably are, aside of the ones that Duncan mentioned, the Ubisoft library, they're great ones to kind of measure it.
Yes, and that is a great point there, that it is by Double Fine. I was actually meant to double check that, and I was pretty sure that was it. So it is pretty interesting, that. So that is something to maybe keep an eye on. Again, people talk about contracts, and contracts are far out. I would not be surprised if this was maybe signed before Microsoft took over. I know Microsoft took over Double Fine last year, but I think Amazon have been signing these deals for a fair bit. I wish that Microsoft are on board with Luna and they will drop down a Game Pass channel. Could you manage that? That would be absolutely amazing. But
yeah,
I would not be surprised unless my maths is wrong. But I think Double Fine only signed up to Microsoft last year, about E3 last year, if I remember right. And I think Luna seemed to have been planning this for a long time, and they've already got 100 games coming to the platform in Luna Plus before it comes out from beta. So this might be just, they've got their timetable here and they're just rolling it out nice and slowly.
Yeah, they are indeed. And I've thought
the other thing to mention, you might have been about to talk about this, but K-Sport has mentioned it in chat as well. We did notice something different when, as UK guys are trying to sign up for Luna. It seems like the European Luna requests are live. What that seems to be is a slight changing in the wording of the email you get sent when you click the "I'd like early access, please." And it seems to be talking about those people now wanting to be one of the first customers, rather than we've got nothing to share at this time. I'm not entirely, but that's definitely another step in the right direction to what we're all expecting is coming down the line, in that Luna will be available certainly in Europe and North America.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's something obviously, the fact that me and Duncan kind of obviously host the LunaCast. I literally pretty much have, that Amazon page, for the last couple of months, it's kind of bookmarked in my Chrome browser.
Refreshing it every hour.
Just so I can kind of, I can check it on a weekly basis just to kind of see what's going on, just in case you can, like we've done this week, refresh it. Oh, actually, it says something different today. I'm going to click it. I'm going to see what happens. Hey, presto, there we go. I've requested early access. So the strategy has paid out in the end. And a shout out to, to obviously, I was going to call him Wolock then, but I think obviously Wolock, Sean, however you kind of people recognize him for,
you know who you are. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes,
you're bloke.
Yeah.
I can't, just to reiterate, I think this is actually great news. It has changed because if you remember when you were going on before, it was blocked out completely. So it was when you were trying to click on it. No, it's only US, but now you can sign up for it. So I think this is them getting a soft launch maybe organized. Soft launch means not officially out there, but they might just start passing it out. And don't be. If that starts to happen, do not get upset if you don't get access. It'd be frustrating, yes, and I would be frustrated, but it is...
There are still people who haven't got access to Xcloud.
Exactly. And Kelly. Everybody wave at Kelly and go, ha ha.
Ha! No, I can't do that.
No, you can't. You'll get murdered.
I'm
going to get murdered.
I'm waving, but I'm not
you're the only one within murdering distance of that.
Or kicking distance.
Both.
Yes. Yeah. But again, I think Luna was quiet last week after being really, really consistent. And then this week they've definitely kicked on, and it's going to be great to see what they've got. I think we're still waiting for another channel to come. I still think a EI channel is nailed on to go to Luna unless something big sort of changes down the line, but it could be interesting to watch, and let's hope the invites come out for us, please.
Yes, fingers crossed. Hopefully so. It'll make doing the LunaCast so much easier. But we did say last week, didn't we? I know you very briefly touched on it there. I think on our roundup last week, we said that they've been quiet, and generally, you know how these things go. When people go a bit quiet, it's because something's about to come, something's about to happen. And here we go this week. This is what we've seen. So,
I'm going to chuck out something here just while I remember. Sorry for interrupting. If anybody has any ideas for the Lunacast, we're thinking of renaming it. So if any ideas, chuck it out there.
Yes, that's a good shout.
Are you renaming it for obvious reasons?
Obvious reasons, yes.
Okay.
And
I didn't want to say, but yeah.
Obvious reasons and not so obvious reasons as well. There's two reasons for it, but one of the obvious reasons is yes. But as for people who don't know it, we're just having the end of the name. We're just trying to move away from that slightly.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm trying to refer to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So next up, we'll go to GeForce Now.
No! Woo!
Sorry, hang on. I'll take it off. There you go. You can do it now.
Ready? What are we going for next, guys? GeForce Now.
Oh, dear. Excellent. So,
GeForce Thursday was a thing that happened this week.
This week? GeForce Thursday? Yeah. It happens every week.
It happened this week as well. Are you saying it didn't happen? There wasn't as much in it, I thought, this week. But again, we still had 6 or 7 games coming to the platform, 1 or 2 day-or-date releases. And the big stuff, I think I put it there, was the optimization and the preloading stuff. Obviously, you guys talked about this on the GeForce Now Thursday live stream. We do 6 o'clock UK time. Quick plug for that. Anything else to mention from that? What are you talking about there with that?
No, I mean, I think obviously we kind of did a bit more of a deeper dive in it, as we always do on our, the dedicated show for the platform on the Thursday. But I think that the main thing that I really took away from it was just confirmation of stuff they'd communicated at an earlier point in time. They'd kind of said, look, this is our intention. These are the kind of things we're going to be doing. We're going to be making improvements to the service. And here we are kind of 2-3 weeks down that road. We're seeing another app update. We've squashed some bugs in the process, but here we are. We're delivering some further enhancements just to kind of make your experience even better. And I think the thing that highlighted it from me, I don't think it was in the blog. I think it was on a separate kind of a separate site that we were talking about on the show yesterday, where there was a paragraph that was so perfectly worded in about how literally they were basically just.
Oh, no, is that what you're talking about? I'll see if I can find it. Talking exactly about how everything they are doing is to make the experience the best possible experience that it could be. And I said it last night, and I'll say it again. From any platform that we are playing games on, that is a paragraph, whether it be marketing, whether it be PR, with what they're delivering right now, they're backing up that marketing and that PR. But it's exactly, as gamers, what we want to hear, because we want to be able to get into our games as quick as possible. And when we're in our games, we want to be able to play online with our friends, and we want to have the best possible experience. And
there's your paragraph right there.
There he is. Yeah. There we go. Yes, he's found it.
These updates are just the few of the improvements we're working on. We have a ton more in store, and every update is designed to make sure that our GFN members play their PC games from our cloud servers. They're getting the best possible experience. To be honest with you, I think this was a strong week for GFN. People say, no, the games are rubbish. But as we discovered last night, people were making fun of me, Samuel, that I buy games.
Make fun of you, let's narrow it down.
I do buy games, but these Epic games, I think all but one of them were not a free Epic game at one stage, and that's the Dungeon of
to say it.
Nahobook.
The Ambit of Chaos.
What they said.
Yes.
I'm not going to try it.
So all but one of them were Epic free games, which was absolutely great. And if you want to see how many games I have picked up on the Epic Game Store for free, go check last night's stream. It was absolutely insane, the amount of games there and the amount of value.
That is quite a list. I had a look on, trying to get your banking details, but you weren't foolish enough to put those up.
Even if you're worried, you wouldn't get any money anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. With the GFN stuff and the Epic Game Store, even some of the games I actually bought, I picked up. I was just remembering about it. I picked up Hades for £5 or $7 because it was on sale, and I had the coupon as well. It is just absolutely mad what you can actually get on the Epic Game Store. So claim your games, because Darksiders 2 here, Soma and Gunner and Darksiders, the original Darksiders, were from games from about 2 years ago, and they've came on to the Epic Game Store. You can access the GFN now, so that's well worth getting.
Duncan's in trouble. Callie's coming for him.
I just heard a smack. Now he's got camera's gone offline.
Oh dear. The thing I have to say that the game that stood out for me in that list, purely because of I played the original again. We were talking about it last night. Was R-Type. I'm not sure how much it is. I haven't checked yet because I think it comes out today. But it's one of those games you just look at it and you kind of get those nostalgic feels. You remember what it was like to play it back in the day. And now you can kind of jump into a reinvented future version.
Yes, it wasn't Kelly shouting at me. It was we have a hyper teenager in the house, like really hyper. So it's just trying to calm it all down.
That's just Duncan,
and that's just me.
No, you told me your age. Well, you didn't tell me your age, but you did say your age a while back. You're not a teenager anymore. Back there. Obviously, got it in your hands now. But the big thing that I've noticed on the GFN news is that a lot of the games recently haven't been for me. But again, we kept mentioning it before. The fact they are adding games and the volume of games they're adding, eventually there will be those 1 or 2 games in a week for you. Oh yeah, I've got that, or I'd quite like to get that, but I can't be fussed with downloading it and wondering whether I've got the specs to run it. I'll just run it through GeForce Now. And having that option is almost invaluable to me as a gamer. So it's definitely one that you can't sleep on, you can't ignore for a few weeks because nothing's interested me for a while. You've got to keep looking.
You have, and I think tying into claiming the Epic games, which Duncan absolutely banged on about it, and rightly so last night. When we looked at the amount of games that he'd claimed, for example, it's the kind of thing that you'd kind of say, well, actually, do you know what? To be able to have access to those, you'd almost pay a sub. Yes. For the number of for that number of games and the quality of some of the titles that he's actually claimed for free, you'd actually kind of say, well, that's something that I'd pay a sub for if those were the kind of free games that I was going to get access to.
Similar to a PlayStation Now or Stadia Pro.
Yeah, exactly. And those things. Oh, here he goes.
Again.
We've started him off.
It says show more. You have no idea how much more there is. There you go. He's clicked it once.
Yeah, I will click the stuff all the way down here, so you'll see how many we have here. As you can see, I have bought so many games in the Epic Game Store, but I have bought games as it will eventually. There's Satisfactory I've bought, a great wee game. So here we go. We're still going.
This is back to 2019 now. So you think, what were you doing 2 years ago? What were you doing when Stadia launched, actually? We've gone past that now. This was about the time everyone was pre-ordering their Founders Editions.
And believe it or not, I actually skipped out a couple of weeks, or there's loads of weeks I forgot to do it as well. So there we go here. And what we're saying here is some of these games are not wee Mickey Mouse sort of games or indie games. I like me indie games. But there's some real great games which have been on Stadia Pro as well and other services. Like there is Enter the Gungeon was free a couple of years ago. The Witness, absolutely amazing game. Limbo, everybody's
I've spotted on Xbox recently.
Yeah,
I
Alan
think that's just
Wake,
leaving.
For Honor, which constantly gets updated up to
Batman Arkham trilogy.
yeah,
Metro,
yep.
which has had the updates recently.
Surviving Mars. Oh, by the way, if you want a nice game to actually play as a chill out game, it's a bit of a puzzler. I like the puzzle games. Is a bit loosely Portal like. It's Cube 2. That is a great wee game. Sorry.
You talked about Soma. That was one of the games that's announced this week, isn't it?
Yep. And that was from maybe 2 years ago. Then you've got Yooka-Laylee there. And there is the Darksiders double pack.
Another one. Yeah.
It just shows you if you go and play your game, or if you if you go and claim your Epic free games, it just adds up. And this goes back to when I keep on going about the $10 a month for the GeForce Now subscription. It may seem a lot, but there's just so many ways to get games on to access on GFN, and you can get an absolute ton of games for free or part of bundles. And
I think weren't we talking about might be sometime this month? We were talking about a game that's come to GeForce Now that you can't get on Steam or Epic or GOG. It can now only be played if you bought it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it can now be played through GeForce Now.
Yes,
if you bought it at the time when it was released. So you can only play it if you bought it.
Exactly.
But,
yeah, that's exactly it. It was a game which has been delisted, but you can still play it in GFM.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. There is the amount of games I have claimed on GFN, and there's the Hades for £5.19. Hurry up and bring it. But there's just absolutely so many games you can pick up, and it literally 30 seconds. Just go in, claim it, and then just forget about it, because you just never know what will happen. What happens if the Epic Game Store opens up its own cloud service and you can play all these games through their cloud service? That is a possibility. It's because they're close with Tencent, and we know Tencent have got a cloud service and they're expanding it. There's just so many reasons why you should go into it. If you've got moral objections to the Epic Game Store, absolutely work away, and I respect that. But if you're just a day-to-day gamer like me and just want to play games and have a load of free games, go there every week and just claim it. And here ended the lecture on why you should claim your free games on the Epic Game Store.
Can you imagine the marketing ability they would have if they went that way? Epic Games, Epic Cloud. It's like they've got to be thinking about it, surely.
We've talked about Epic. We've talked about Steam having a subscription model, or Steam Cloud Store or something. There are a few companies yet to make a move that we think could potentially revolutionize cloud gaming even more than it has been in the last 2 years.
Apple.
Apple's another one. Apple's another one. Yeah.
And again,
we're waiting for their move.
Just to talk about Apple, I'm telling you now, if you have an Apple device, if you've got an iPhone and you do not have, if you haven't looked at Arcade thinking it's the biggest load of nonsense, I'm telling you now, as some of these games were on some platforms, they would be heralded as, not going to say potential game of the years, but they'll be right up there, getting really highly rated by a load of people. I'll give you 3 games to play on Apple Arcade. The first one is Little Orpheus, absolutely amazing game. Play it with earphones or through the speakers. Second game is Fantasian, which is a Mistwalker game, which is a JRPG. And the third game is I forgot the name of it. It's World of Demons. It is a platinum game. And if they were on Switch, they would be getting 8, 9s out of 10s. I'm telling you, they are that good, and they are exclusive.
Excellent.
I think we've ended the GeForce Now segment.
It does indeed. It brings us very nicely onto We get to.
What's going first? Yeah.
Shall I bring the blog posts up? Shall we do this?
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Stadia have had a decent week. I'm going to go out and say it. They've had a decent week. It's not been perfect, and we'll get onto that later.
And it's nothing to do with me.
And for once, it's actually me wanting to have a bit of a moan. And if you follow me on Twitter, you probably might see where this is going. But they've had a decent week. Obviously, on Tuesday, we got our This Week on Stadia blog post with the 3 pro games. Which this week, this month, are Hotline Miami 2, Trine 4, and Floor Kids. There also is another Stadia Pro game, which they're not telling us about yet. They will tell us about next week. It definitely isn't Ark. Of course not. Why would you think that at all? I laughed earlier when Ark was mentioned in the chat. And the reason why was when we did our predictions live stream, I deliberately didn't put Ark on the list for me. Because I thought that's not coming first in May. There's no way that's coming first in May. And I might have been vindicated on that. We'll see.
Speaking of which, we need to go back here and go to Case Ball's comment, because we did say.
I'm trying to find it now. There's been plenty of good comments throughout. We do see that sometimes we make a mental note to go back if we have missed it. Don't worry. Leave a comment. Comment in the comments below the video at the end of stream, and we'll try and address them on a future stream. How about that?
Yes. Sorry, I'm assuming gender as well. It's just common practice. I apologize if I offend anybody. It is not meant to be done, anything like that. Just call me a flippin' idiot. There's no malicious things about it. Battlefield 6 and Mass Effect nailed on as EA games for Stadia. If Stadia announced either GTA Online or Mass Effect next week, it will be massive. And just they followed up with Ark is too predictable. What's your thoughts on this? Because we do know that there's a fourth game coming.
There's a fourth game coming, and I think what he's also referring to is the 2 EA games that we haven't yet seen for the platform. When EA was announced as a partner with Stadia, they said they got 5 games coming. We've had Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Madden 21, and FIFA 21. Still some speculation as to what those other 2 games are. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they're FIFA 22 and Madden 22. But
I don't want, again, I do not want to go into Duncan being negative about Stadia. If I was given the choice of what games I want on Stadia, you have to choose 2 EA titles. It is FIFA and Madden, and I'm not even blinking when I'm saying that. It is them.
And I'd agree with you there.
If it's Battlefield 6 and Mass Effect, I would be extremely worried about FIFA and Madden coming this fall. We're American now. This autumn. Yes, I'm just joking about here. I would be extremely worried that they would come to Stadia. So I would throw the question back out at you. What would you prefer to be, Battlefield 6 and Mass Effect, or FIFA and Madden? And this is about the platform rather than individual choice. Because if it was individual
choice, I think I'd know what I'd go for, and it's none of those 4 games.
What would you go for?
I'd go for F1. Keep talking about it. Yeah.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah. It's going to take me a couple of years to remember that Codemasters is part of EA.
Oh no, EA will remind you of that as soon as FIFA 2021 comes out.
Yeah. I'm going to, if it was my personal choice, I would go Mass Effect and probably Battlefield 6. I would probably play Mass Effect more than Battlefield and FIFA and stuff there. But that's just my personal sort of choice. If they dropped the Dragon Age, it would be Dragon Age, but that's a different story there.
I think in terms of keeping a good range of games from each developer on there, I'd actually, for Battlefield 6 and Mass Effect, in terms of what the platform needs for it to convince us that it's going to continue strongly, it would have to be FIFA and Madden, the sporting titles. We talked about this week in, week out now. It seems like we're repeating ourselves over and over again. But the sporting titles and the day and date sporting titles. Next year, who's going to want to play FIFA 21 on any platform?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's true, but I think, I mean, for me, the interesting thing is if we look at the consideration that kind of Stadia is in year 2, let's say, okay, so as we went into year 2, so back end of year 1 into year 2, we had FIFA and Madden. You know, are EA potentially looking at trying to gauge and understand what the demographic and what the player base is like within a relatively new and emerging platform? Is it something that we could find that basically they look at Madden, they look at FIFA and say, okay, they're big titles for us elsewhere, but potentially weren't as big as we, you know, as maybe they would have been on other platforms as they are, on Stadia or in the cloud. So do they then kind of say, well, actually, in year 2 of our commitment to the platform, we'll bring 2 totally different titles to see if that then fits the balance, in with whatever is, desired and wanted from the player base, so that they can maybe try and get a bit more of an understanding of the demographic.
I would be really worried if another game came, which if they dropped in Mass Effect, yes, it would be absolutely brilliant. If they drop Mass Effect in, absolutely amazing news, it is coming. But my worry would be then, in the back of my head, I'll be thinking, what game isn't coming now? And we talked about...
We don't know whether any additional agreements have been signed or whether modifications have been made to that agreement. But let's be honest, we're talking about it. It was announced about this time last year. So it's been 12 months since. Things can change. They could have said, we're going to bring another 5, and it's just not announced right yet. And so we don't necessarily know that Battlefield 6 might come at the expense of FIFA or Madden.
Yeah, my only concern is I'll just talk as plainly as possible, which is a bit hard for me because I don't actually mean to be controversial when things come out. I just say it how I think and how I see it. My worry is if FIFA and Madden don't come, and we'll get Battlefield 6 and Mass Effect, which would be great, and that's at its expense of FIFA and Madden. It's going to be another F1 situation, which looks like it could happen, where there is going to be people jumping ship because they can't have FIFA and Madden, because these are big games and people want to play them. Caseball, FIFA is not going to Xcloud. It is just going to Game Pass. It is not, or at this moment, it is just going there. It hasn't been announced for Xcloud as yet. So this is a big. I'm hoping that all the games come to Stadia. Believe it or not, despite my reputation, I want Stadia to get every single game going, but it's not turning out that way. For these pro games at this, we'll go back to what do we think the other pro game is now. I'll let you go first, and then I will let you guess what I'll set my guess is.
For all my joking, I know where you think you're going to guess, but for all my joking about it, I think it is actually going to be Ark.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think I know where you're going.
I'm going to say Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
It has to be Star Wars, because if it is Ark, why not just announce it now? Unless they're getting the super duper with the expansion or whatever things coming at the end of next month. We just need to see what is going on. I think it has to be something different from Ark, because you could just announce Ark and nobody would bat an eyelid. Ark coming, yes, Ark is a big game, but is it worthy of having a separate announcement when we already know it's coming?
I can see the logic in that. I mean, I think that the shall we say the stars align when you look at the date and kind of the points you're making.
Yes,
you know,
the entire reason for people thinking Star Wars is going to be the next one is because next Tuesday is May the 4th. And as far as I can work out, that's the only reason why.
yeah. I mean, my gut says Arc purely because we know that it's due to be on the platform by the 26th of next month, because that's when the expansion hits. So we kind of know realistically that between tomorrow and 25 days time, Arc it should be on the platform. But I mean, I will say, in fairness to you, the point that you are making, Duncan, absolutely. Why would you just not say it? And I've seen a lot, of people suggesting that it's something that we just don't know about. And if that's what it is, fantastic. Because if it's something we don't know, we don't expect, then brilliant.
Charles Oran saying, engineer, I think that's reference to Hello Engineer, which we talk about Arc, but same. I think it's the same Good Stuff event. We heard about Hello Engineer coming to Stadia Pro.
Yep, we did.
At some point early 2021, I think. That's gone quiet recently. Maybe it's we're all thinking Arc, and it's actually the other game we all know.
Yeah, again, I know Hello Engineer, the Hello Neighbor series is also a big game for a lot of people. I just don't understand why they're postponing it. I know there's been some talk in the community as well that it is going to be Mass Effect. I would be absolutely gobsmacked if it's Mass Effect, because if this was Mass Effect coming as a pro game, I would have been saying, you have to have this as a marketing deal, market the absolute life out from it, because you would get a ton of people. You tie that in with Resident Evil as well, and you can go, come look at Stadia. You can get Resident Evil, get a Chromecast controller, and for the same price as buying the game. Plus, Mass Effect is coming as a Stadia Pro game, so you're going to have access to that. Does that sell itself? It is just... If it turns out to be Mass Effect, I would be fuming and elated at the same time. I would be going, what the flip is going on here? I think it's going to be another mid to higher tier type game. So we're talking the Arcs or the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. But I just don't understand why they haven't announced it now, unless they're trying to shock the world somehow. Because I'm going to be frank, these 3 games here, which are coming as pro games, all highly rated games, 2 of them, I'm going to say highly rated games. Floor Kids, I'm not convinced. Again, I think we should touch on Floor Kids as well here briefly, because there was a little bit of...
Do you want to go for that now?
I'm going to talk about the other 2 games. If these 2 games went to Xbox Live, Games with Gold, and we know the flag that Xbox Games with Gold gets, this month's Xbox Games Gold for me is better than what's being offered here with Stadia Pro at this moment in time, I should say. The Games of Gold actually, I actually like the look of. Again, value is in the eye of the beholder. I've done a bit of trying. You can actually check it out on our channel here. I'd actually played it through GeForce Now. I didn't even know I had it on GeForce Now. I just get games and I don't know.
You claimed it on Epic.
Probably. And it's a good wee game, but again, it's not at the Resident Evil sort of levels and what PlayStation is giving away and things like that. I think it was so far. I think it's a weak Stadia Pro month, but that can change next week at a drop of an eye. And if you look at the games leaving, we're going to be even this month. 4 games adding, 4 games coming off. With the games coming off, Steamworld Heist, not a fan of that one. I prefer the other Steam World games. El Hydro, I didn't actually play it that much. Lara Croft and Guardian of Light and Sammy's Eyes will pick up because it's a Lara Croft game. It's not a bad game.
It's better than that. It's Keely Hawes voiced Lara Croft game.
There you go. Enter the Gungeon is a roguelike, so I like it. So from them ones, make sure you pick up for me Enter the Gungeon. That is...
No, I can't disagree with that.
Okay. Oh, did I get controversial for a wee bit?
Should we talk about the Floor Kids issue? Debacle issue. I think it might be overblown a little bit. I know where you're going to go with it. So
it is just really, really naughty. That's my feeling of it. If Xbox did this, if PlayStation did this, if no matter what platform which you're on a subscription did this, you would be fuming. This game is only out a couple of weeks, and it is now getting dropped into Stadia Pro. Put it into Pro. First off, even if you have to delay it, do not have it on sale for a couple of weeks. It angers people. You're just going to upset people, and I don't know what the thinking is there.
We did see a few people who were a little bit peeved, and this isn't a new thing. We think back to December 2019, not Lara Croft, but the 2013 Tomb Raider came on Stadia Pro, and that was even on sale just before it came on, and people bought it. Then it went on to Pro, and to be fair, Stadia at the time did refund a lot of these people. Don't know what the outcome has been with those who have talked about Floor Kids, but
yeah, I just think it's very, very naughty.
It is. I mean, I'm all for giving people the opportunity to buy the game at the point they want to. They want to buy it, and I guess if you wait long enough, you could make the argument that dependent on which platform you play, you could probably end up being able to claim a game for free, as part of a sub. But when it launches when it comes into a platform, at the point that it does, and then so swiftly after it then goes to kind of being claimable behind a subscription, it just doesn't sit well with people. It gets people's backup. And ultimately, the other thing that I would say, and is it gets to a point where it kind of demotivates people to want to spend money on the platform.
Yes.
Because
it was a refrain for us for quite a while that games coming out looks like they're going to go to Pro.
Yeah, and
Floor Kids was one of them.
And do you know what? It's one of the reasons that I haven't purchased a game on Stadia for a number of months now. The last game that I picked up on Stadia was Madden. Aside of that, I've literally picked up my Pro games. I've not kind of spent because of the way the kind of the Pro sub has been going, of late, and the games that have been being added to the library.
Here's the thing. I'm going to step back. I think for people who don't know, I am not buying any games on Stadia unless they're extremely cheap and reduced. We're talking the sale prices of the PGA Borderlands sort of thing. We're talking too good of a deal to turn down. Or Stadia shows me some signs of life that they're going to be here next year. And I'm still waiting for them signs of life. I'm just being honest. I've said this numerous times. However, if I'm just stepping back, I cannot recommend anybody buying games, and this is even before any of this kicked off. I cannot recommend anybody buying games on Stadia which are indie games and under $20, £20 mark, because they're just pro game fodder. And even if the game looks really, really good, you just go, that is going to be a pro game. It's just a matter if and when. Even though our projections are notoriously wrong, they all eventually come to Stadia Pro.
Dash will eventually be on Pro, guys.
Yes. We said that about Kine at one stage, and Kine eventually made it onto Pro.
We said that about Outcasters for months and months and months before it was released.
And this isn't just us being negative or anything like that. As Barry and Sammy have both said, or maybe it was just one of his, there is a lot of outcry on Twitter. Not a lot of outcry. There is a number of people on Twitter giving off a wee bit about this, that they've bought it. I have no problem with games going to pro as long as they've missed one pro cycle, if that makes sense. If a game came out in April, it should not be in the May pro game.
So what you're saying is 4Kids should be on pro next month, June?
Yes, basically. I wouldn't have a problem with that. If you're going to put a game to pro, I think it needs a good number of weeks out there and not being released the following month on pro. I think that's just too early. These lessons keep on getting. They don't seem to be learning from the lessons, because this happens all the time and it just gets people's backs up, and it is just really disappointing. We've got a question here. Have we pre-ordered Resident Evil 8?
I'll start that off, because for me personally, no, I haven't. It's for the exact same reason that I didn't pre-order Cyberpunk 2077. It's that the game isn't one that particularly interests me. It's one that I don't think I'll enjoy. And I already have a Premier Edition that I got with YouTube Premium giveaway. So there's literally no reason why I'd take advantage of either side of that offer. That's my personal taste, but
okay. Barry, I will save you. I will go for I will get the R here. I will be pre-ordering Resident Evil 8. And my debate is either over PlayStation or Xbox, and I'm probably leaning PlayStation because of the headset and the controller. What you get is what you see with me.
Just not to sway your decision there, but you, I don't know if you're aware, but on rewards you get 6,000 reward points if you get it on Xbox.
Okay, that might sway me slightly. But the reason why I'm not picking it up on Stadia is, yes, if you do not have a Premier Kit or a Founders Edition, that deal is an absolutely great deal.
Yes, yeah, I can't deny that. I just have no use for it.
Yes, and I do not have any use for it either. I've give one away as well. Again, I will be frank. I gave it away to someone who was going to play Stadia. They played it once and then just didn't play it again. So, which is
I got Chromecast Ultra out of it. They are incredibly useful devices anyway.
Yes,
he says, having unplugged his and plugged his Google TV thing in now.
But I'm just not buying games on Stadia until I see real green shoots of life on the platform. I still love talking about Stadia. I want Stadia to succeed, etc., etc. And again, I think you should go back to last week, because I think we have a real good, passionate discussion about Stadia and why we actually love Stadia as a platform. It's just a frustration. But at this moment in time, I just don't see myself buying it when I've got access to the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, kind of just to round off the trio of the answers. No, I haven't pre-ordered Resident Evil 8.
On any platform. I realise now that he did mention it on Stadia. I just took that as on Stadia because that's what we're talking about at the moment.
Yeah, no, I haven't pre-ordered it on Stadia, and I haven't pre-ordered it on any other platform as it stands. I mean, I would have thought if I do get it, it may well be an alternative platform, purely because the reward points might sway me, and it's not limited to a pre-order. And I think one of the things I said about the Resident Evil 8 coming with the Premier Edition was I kind of feel like it was a prime opportunity for them to do a new bundle with the Google TV. I feel like that's what the offer should have been. I feel like it should have been Resident Evil 8 with a Stadia Premier Edition with Google TV, rather than kind of another CCU offer, because I think, like everybody, I've got a number of them, and I don't need to add another one to the collection. I've got my Google TV, and that's what hopefully in the next 60 days, when I am running Stadia, if it's not a PC browser, that's what I want to be running, Stadia on my TV downstairs from the living room experience.
Yeah.
Should we move down blog post or?
Yes. Yeah, there's something I want to pick up on here, and just remember the Resident Evil demo is tomorrow, and it will be for the week, and it's about an hour. This is a really great marketing opportunity for Stadia if they can get it out there. If the other platforms aren't behaving too great, this could be really where they could swoop in and really push things. It could be another Cyberpunk sort of situation. However, they need to get out there quick, and I hope they've got something really big and ready to go for tomorrow to start doing this. But let's see what happens.
Yes.
Moving down that blog post, we had Legend of Keepers, career. Yeah, that is a full title. Career of a Dungeon Manager. I'm not sure because I don't see the word career in many game titles.
I know what you mean. I had to do a double take at first.
That came out April 29th at a price we've previously mentioned, means it will be going to Pro at some point.
Do not buy. Do not buy.
If you want to play the game and you want to play it without thinking that you might not have a Stadia Pro subscription, either currently or in the future, then do buy it.
Yes.
But don't be surprised if it comes to Pro later.
Yeah, that's basically it. It would be buyer beware. It's if you don't mind it going to Pro at some stage. Again, I hate having to give like these warnings because you don't have to do this with any other platform. Do not buy this game because it might go to Game Pass or might go to Pro. You don't say that because
it's because of the scale of it. I mean, this is the game comes to Stadia this week, as opposed to Microsoft, where there's plenty of games coming out, some of which will fit that bill because there's so many of them and they don't put so many games on Game Pass.
Yeah,
it's very different. State Share, another new game has got State Share, and they're talking about it. Well done, yes, well done, Google. Well done, Google. Talking about a feature in your game.
Okay, I think this is actually great. Just to go back to your point there's not that many games come out in Stadia. Yes, there's over 200, but every game is an absolute massive game coming to Stadia. If they could have added in a wee video here, a 30-second video showing what the State Share could do, that would have elevated us up to another level. And then again, these are just wee small. This is me nitpicking, by the way, but this is
again, we do this because we see the potential in the platforms.
Exactly. If they had the wee video there with the 50 trillion men running down the line, and you could play this level now and actually put a wee State Share link in there, and you can play this moment right now. It's just free marketing and things like that. This is good. This is how to make it great.
Yep, I don't disagree with that in the slightest.
It's also nice to see that games that are already released out on the platform are implementing these features, which we were told all those years ago, seems like now, but we were told they are there on the platform at launch. It's just the games aren't utilizing them. Now we're starting to see it being worked in. We saw that with Monster Boy recently, and now see it with Sam 4. So there's a glimmer of light at the end of that tunnel, I think.
Yeah,
to the point where I think Barry and I's dream is probably set a lap record on F1 2020 State Share. We send it to each other, go back and forth.
Yes, definitely. Or even those kind of, I think the ones you were talking about last week, which kind of takes me back to some of the older F1 games that hopefully you've been able to experience them. Where you kind of jump into a car and you've had to pit, and you've got 4 laps left, and all that sort of stuff.
Challenges. State share for sporting titles in particular has a massive potential. We talked about it for Madden. I can't remember. Someone did, and thought it was a brilliant idea. I'm going to steal it. But the Super Bowl, during advert breaks, if they can put a state share in of the play field as it is currently, absolutely. You can go in, play this round now. No downloads, no updates, no installs. Go in, play it during the advert break, then go back to watching the game.
Yep.
Exactly. It's what FIFA. It's like what FIFA tries to do. Do you know when you load into FIFA for like the first time, you're like playing as Ronaldo and you're 2-0 down. It's like it's just so many of these so easy.
There is potential there, and maybe it's taken a bit longer to get it going, but we still want to see it.
And there's games as well. Sports games are ideal for this, and I've talked about it. Football Manager. Following the Christmas, you get streamers on board. There's massive Football Manager. There's the F1 as well. You said about in the pits trying to catch up and stuff like that.
PGA. Imagine the Masters. The leader's finished. He's on hole 18. You're 3 holes behind. There's 2 shots in it or 3 shots in it. The possibilities are endless.
People buy these sporting games to feel like they're actually competing themselves.
Yeah.
State share is a great way to add the realism of that, without someone having to manually go in and type in or the player having to manually go in and type in all the stuff.
When Stadia was announced back at GDC, nearly 3 years ago now, isn't it? Yeah,
no, it's 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Over 2 years now, but 2 years.
Yeah. 2 years ago. And out of all the features I was excited about the most was state share, on just how it could be marketed, and then the added bonus of the Stream Connect and all this sort of. And I'm just sitting here a lot of the time going, you're just wasting your complete potential. And again, I'm going to say it as how I say it. At this moment in time, even though Stadia is adding these things at a slow sort of rate, it feels to me that they're nearly treading water, while the other companies out there
I think I said something about this.
Yeah,
I think I said about PlayStation Now last week. So.
Yeah,
but yeah, I get exactly what you're saying.
All the other companies seem to be doing stuff and they seem proactive, while Stadia is not even reactive. They're just sanitary and not doing much. And the marketing, and it just goes back to, if you read the second paragraph on the state share, there's something jumping out to my eyes, and I'm going, you should have actually expanded on.
It's not in Monster either. It's in Monster Boy, isn't it? They've not put that on the list. Yeah.
No, it's not that. It is Judgment is mentioned, but they forgot to mention it fully. And I'm going to be frank, I think Judgment is more relevant at this moment in time than Serious Sam 4. And again, it's these sort of things which just need to be promoted by Stadia. It's not up to the community to go out here and convince people to try Stadia. It is up to Stadia themselves to go out and do it. I think they need a team of 1, 2, 3 people there coming up with these challenges, and they could sit there and give out a $20 gift card for the person who does it the best, or something along that line, and it would just open this up, and call it Stadia Challenges on Twitter, and separated out from the main Stadia account, make it a bit more Game Passy, make it a bit more fun and jovial, and make a wee website here. It's not rocket science here, and they've got the money. It is Google, and this we venture. Yes, it will cost money, but how much money could it actually bring if you get a couple of people on board here and really promoting this and dropping?
It's what brought them into gaming in the first place. They saw it's the biggest most amount of money in any entertainment sphere. You go through music, video, gaming is far bigger than any of that. They want a slice of that pie. To get a slice of that pie, you're going to have to spend, and it's a bit more than what they've spent so far. They're going to need to keep putting money, keep throwing time at it.
I think it just comes back to a lot of naivety at whoever is in charge of the marketing and stuff.
This is people different to Phil Harrison.
Yes,
Phil Harrison will focus on what Stadia does. These are the people that focus on what Stadia is given in terms of money, resources, publicity.
Exactly. Because I'm just going to put this out here. As we can see tonight, GeForce Now is promoting their community with an Apex Legends play along.
Yeah, I get alerts about that in their Discord.
They have just tweeted about it from the main GFN account.
They tweeted about it. And this is something they've been doing before, but they're now sort of bringing that out to a wider audience, putting it on Twitter.
Exactly.
And they're great. I've not been able to join one yet because of timings, but they're great nights. They're enjoyed by all. They play massive, big name games on their platforms. They had Among Us one night. Obviously Apex Legends tonight. I think Division 2 or Counter-Strike Go is one of them. They're big games. Charles around. Yeah, exactly.
Again, I'm going to hark back to it. Go on, someone say it for me. What game am I going to talk about?
Slay the Spire.
I can't remember the exact wording of it for a minute. But yes.
Slay the Spire. Sign up Northern Ireland to do 10, 12 videos on that and put the state share link in the thing, and boom, you have got a hardcore audience there. And I can play the same level as Northern Ireland. Absolutely brilliant. Bring on a streamer, put in crowd choice. When you go up a level, you choose the card for me. So you can choose a card or don't choose any card, and you just build it up like that, and Bob's your uncle. And it's not these one and done things. You have to pay them for a series, not just one-offs. You have to let them build up a audience and over multiple streams and videos, not the one and done. There we go, my mini rant. Before Sammy's rant, which is going to be coming. He's just building himself up.
It's going to be coming. This is going to be the big finale at this rate. But we also had another blog post arriving this week, and this arrived on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday.
Yeah.
So the day after, and this is, as I tweeted at the time, this is a step in the direction to what people have been wanting since, to pick a date out of maybe 1st of February. It's a roadmap talking about some of the features that they're implementing on the Stadia platform, some of the stuff they've got coming in future. The big headline was, of course, the search bar, which has been rolled out this week. I've got it, folks. Have you?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Duncan's got his thumbs up.
Yes, I had it yesterday. I was playing some Stadia yesterday. Yes, I still play Stadia. Don't let the secret right there. And I noticed it there. My problem with this, it's not a problem. I think it's absolutely great that it's come. What they should have done here, again, constructive criticism here, is make it into a joke. Make it into a big lambasting joke that the search bar is finally here. Because as we have seen over the last couple of days and today as well, everybody's favorite Stadia YouTuber has made a video. Who's everybody's favorite Stadia YouTuber?
Oh, he hasn't, has he?
Yes, he has. It's a 10-minute video. Who am I talking about? Young Ye,
surely.
Yes, everybody's favorite Stadia content creator, Young Ye, has made a video about the search bar. This, again, the longer this went on, the longer it was going to become a joke. And it's because it's taken 18 months or whatever many months it's taken to get the search bar here, it is a bigger joke. If it came in the first couple of weeks or a couple of months, it would have been fine. Yes, I think we know the reasons why there wasn't a search bar, because there wasn't enough games for a search bar, but they should have had it there and no one would have made they would have made the jokes, or there's only X amount of games, but people were making them jokes anyway. Luna had it in from the word go, and their library wasn't massive to start off with. Again, it's just simple sort of things. Absolutely great. The search bar is here, but it could have been rolled out a little better sooner. And for me, I would have put it as a bit of a joke, or try to make it a bit of a joke. Yes.
Would you put a finally in that first off search bar on Stadia for Web is rolling out now?
Finally, it's here. I know everybody make a joke that they're from Google as well. That Google just lighthearted, to just self-deprecating humor a bit here, just to lighten the mood, and then people can't really hammer you about it as much, because this has been an absolute joke, and this is why it's actually picked up so much press, because it's a joke and it makes Stadia look bad. That's the bad news. We'll move on to the good news.
So we've had that. We had some increased family sharing options, making that easier to decide which games you want to share with your family groups. This bit was quite interesting. So this is basically like a social media timeline feed for probably captures you want to make available to your friends, games that you're playing, stuff you want people to join in. So kind of a social media side on Stadia.
Yeah, Xbox has something similar. PlayStation.
Yes, it's not a brand new idea, but it's something they're looking to integrate into Stadia as a platform.
Oh, I'll put this out here. Any images you do see do not mean anything. I know there was a lot of.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, say
it. Black Flag and the Ezio collection, there is no plans, as far as I'm aware, for it to come to Stadia. I have been told by 9to5 Google that these are only placeholder images. So just be not warned, is don't get your hopes up. If you see anything you like in these images, these are not teasers. These aren't Easter eggs.
Although we should say right at this moment, Orcs Must Die 3 and Kazi and the Wild Masks are available on Stadia.
Yes.
And certainly in the case of Orcs Must Die 3, it's a very fun game. I can't say much about Kazi.
Have you fed it?
No.
Orcs Must
Pro.
Orcs Must Die 3, I will say it is one of the standout games in Stadia, and it's a Stadia semi-exclusive thing going on there. Absolutely fun game. I'm going to be honest, I think it's a little short. If I didn't get it for Stadia Pro, I think it needs a bit more spread out, because I think it ends really quick, and the big boss battle levels are absolutely brilliant. They were my favorite.
Yes, thing. I loved those.
And I know some people struggled in them. They were the easiest ones for me. It was the other ones which were really more difficult for me. The big boss battles, I just flooded it with some things, and it just worked. And me and Kelly absolutely loved playing that, and it was such great fun, that game. Here's the thing about it was, I forgot about it. It's a forgettable game, but it's a fun game when you're actually playing about it. I forgot it was on Stadia, but it was one of my most fun games I've played on Stadia, if that makes any sort of sense.
No, I tend to agree with you. I keep forgetting. I always go back to it at some point. It's the first game I live streamed back in the day, almost a year ago now.
Sammy's fun fact.
First game I live streamed. Obviously, I had a few F1 videos out at the time, but my first live stream was Orcs Must Die 3. And then I did Rock of Ages 3. And batch delete captures. Thank you. Yes, please. That's another one I put finally on. That's been something I've wanted for ages, because when I first got my Stadia controller, lovely as it is, my thumbs hadn't been controller for a while, and I kept accidentally hitting the capture button.
That happened.
That happened. No, I'm not the only one that happened to, but that now that's a year and a half ago, 18 months ago, and all those captures are right down at the bottom of my list. And just like 18 months ago, I can't be bothered to delete them now. I certainly can't be bothered to scroll down to delete them. A batch delete capture option, that'd be brilliant.
Cool. Yeah, this is a good wee option because I've got a number of wee stupid ones I've captured when I've like handing over the controller or putting the controller down. I've accidentally done it. So I think it's great little housekeeping sort of things going on there.
Yes, indeed. And just to go back to kind of Charles's shout earlier, I know they kind of throw random games in at the end of these blog posts, but Hello Engineer just pops up there.
Oh. Yeah, I think that's a brave wee shout there. But again, it's about raising levels. If Hello Engineer was put on with the other games, or if it's Ark, or even if it's
or back to the Mystery Pro game now.
Yeah, the Jedi Fallen Order. That brings up a okay blog post to a great sort of blog post sort of thing month. But just looking at them pro games at the moment, again, I'm not the only one saying it's pretty meh. It's not awful, but it's not good either. It's just
there's nothing that's jumped out there for me.
Yeah,
I will play all three of those games. I think I'm probably going to have to do that this weekend for my Pro Showcase videos. But there's nothing I'm actively looking forward to.
I'm going to tell you now, Trang is.
I'm sure there'll be a hidden gem. I mean, I think where it was Pac-Man and Avicii. I didn't think I'd like Pac-Man at all, or Avicii, to be fair. And those turned out to be two of my favourite games that come to Pro this year.
Yeah,
I'd say two of, because obviously F1 came to Pro in January.
Yeah, I think we should move on to the rant because this has went on a hell of a lot longer than I thought.
It has. To be fair, I don't think we talked overly much about Stadia. We're about to.
Yeah,
but we've talked a fair amount about all the platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, on the 1st of April, Outriders was released. Great game, looked absolutely brilliant. Coming to Stadia day and date, thanks to some work that at least someone had done and someone had paid a bit of money to. Also coming to Game Pass and Xcloud, if you're going for a wider cloud atmosphere. Launched, and it's not had the best launch. It started off with some server issues, people logging in, and there's still quite a lot of bugs. I'd say it's similar or comparable to where Cyberpunk 2077 was. The issue I've got, and I tweeted about this earlier today, is Cyberpunk 2077 received patches on Stadia. Outriders, and we're coming up to a month now, hasn't received any patch at all on Stadia. And the developers seem to be very hush-hush about this. Whether they're not allowed to say anything or whether they don't know, we still don't know whether it's them patching it themselves. What's going on, guys? Why are we in this position where a game on the platform, people have paid and pre-ordered this game on Stadia and they've not had the support? It's unacceptable, really.
Carry on, Duncan. You go first.
You go first, because you haven't talked enough. I talk far too much for everybody's liking.
No, I. Do you know what? I agree. There is no way that if you have contracts in place to bring games to the platform, I mean, obviously we don't know what the contracts look like, so kind of. It could be
unless it's the Sony Resident Evil contract for some reason we got that.
Well, yeah, but it's one of those things that ultimately, if you are pledging support to a platform, if you are bringing a title to the platform, then contractually, from as far as I can see it, Stadia should be having those conversations, with the developers, and saying, guys, come on, we've got a game on our platform that is the game of the moment. It's the game that majority of people spent, the earliest part of April, and beyond throughout, playing and talking about. And we've got it on our platform, and it's not being given the kind of the attention and and the patching that it needs, that it should have, that other platforms have seen. Now, I actually, I'm going to say that for me, this is this is not just a developer problem with the developer of one game. We've seen this with other titles out there. It's not it's not something new.
The one that stands out to me when you talk about other titles on the platform, the one that really stands out for me is actually PGA. Came out last August. But in that example, they saw something was wrong. Stadia saw something wrong. They took action. At the moment, Stadia seemed to be. We talk about the devs not saying anything. Stadia haven't said anything either. And we're in this complete. We don't know what's going on. We keep getting told a patch is coming. They're working on it. Oh, there's this bigger bug they're trying to squash first. But at the end of the day, it's a month tomorrow. And unless a patch comes out tomorrow, and I don't think it will, we'll have got a month with a game unpatched on Stadia and causing issues.
How many people? I'm just throwing this out. I don't know the answer to this, obviously. So it is just a kind of a question to throw out there. But how many people, as a result of that, have now refunded Outriders and have then gone and put the money into maybe the same title but on a different platform because they really want to play it, I should say? Or how many people have just flat out, maybe Stadia is their main place to game? How many people have just said, do you know what, actually,
I'll pass on this one.
Sorry, I'll pass on this one. I'll take my 50, 60 quid back. Thank you very much. And I think that's the thing that, is frustrating, and where you want to kind of see really grasping it and getting a hold of it and kind of doing something with it and making sure that you're very clear that you are managing the problem. And I think we've had one Discord post. I think I've seen. I might have missed one, but I'm going to go with one Discord post from Stadia themselves saying we're aware of the issues, we are liaising with them. That's the only kind of management from a Stadia perspective towards the community that I've really seen. Nothing else sticks in my mind. And I think for me,
that was on launch day. Actually, it said looks like delivery to deploy Outriders was only partially pulled, so it sounds like some people couldn't access the game on Stadia.
Yeah,
but that was resolved in about 10 minutes.
Well, okay.
I'm looking at the gap between the posts that says there's a problem, we're working on it, and the problem's been fixed.
But this comes back to something I said. I think. Do you know what? Actually, I think it was on our really spirited discussion last week when I was talking about kind of where some of the responsibility lies and sits with Stadia. And this is one of those examples where the people who are steering the ship, the people who are managing it, the people who are in charge of kind of strategic partnerships should be getting involved. They should be grabbing people by the scruff of their neck and say, your game is on our platform, sort it out, because we've got people paying money for it. And we've got a community behind us who really enjoy our platform, really want to play on the platform, and this kind of service is, it is kind of letting us down. And that is the area where I kind of, yes, it's wrong that it's being allowed to happen, but I think there is, for me, there is the emphasis. It's being allowed to happen. The dev effectively is managing the platform. It's not the platform managing the dev, it's the other way around. And that's fundamentally, yes, they may be responsible for for the game, but it is the wrong way around.
Oh, I get to say something now.
Sorry.
No, I was enjoying this.
No, I think he's apologising to chat.
Yes. Yes, and it's me apologising to chat. I get to speak now, so I actually like it when you two are sitting talking away and having a rant, and I go, "Thank God it's not me ranting this time."
I had my time to go off and do other things whilst you were talking about Luna. You've had your moment, but obviously, thoughts on Outriders. You retweeted me on the.
Yes, I'm going to expand a couple of wee things because I'm brilliant at this Twitter game. I think it is both a platform issue and a developer issue, as Barry has basically done there. There's no point really going over what Barry was saying there. But yes, as a developer has messed up, but this is affecting the platform now. I think the issue stems back many months ago, and I will remind people we weren't meant to get Outriders day and date, and I said it when Outriders launched. I think it's whatever things they've done to push to get it day and date, that I think that has cost them in the longer run now, and I hate this. I'm going to mention it again. My receipts are there.
I'd have to go back and check your receipts on that. I can see that being an argument that could be made at that point, but I can't. I can't remember. I'm difficult to remember what I say. I don't know what anyone else is saying.
Oh well, the receipts I'm talking about is I was happy enough that Outriders was coming late to Stadia, as long as it was announced it was coming late to Stadia. I had no issue at all at that time. The only titles I have issue not coming day and date are FIFA, Madden, Call of Duty. I'm just putting Call of Duty out there. It's the annual sort of titles, which the longer they're missing from the platform, die and wither, like we've seen with FIFA and Madden. And yes, FIFA and Madden are not doing well on Stadia, despite what people may think they are not.
Charles Moran saying, "Do you think Xbox and GeForce?" I don't think so. And if that does come out, that will be
scandalous.
Scandalous, yeah. I wasn't sure it was scandalous, but it would be at that kind of level. If that is the case, then yeah, we'd be very disappointed in Xbox and GFN.
I would say no, they have nothing to do with it. No. I think it is down to one thing and one thing only. What Barry was saying about the refunds, that's not going to help the situation. It is down to player numbers. The number one platform for Outriders at this moment in time is Xbox, I think, because of being on Game Pass.
Surprised me, yeah.
Followed by Steam and PC or PlayStation would be, I think, pretty neck and neck. I would probably say PC maybe ahead of PlayStation. And then Stadia is at the bottom of the totem pole, and we're talking at the very bottom of the totem pole.
We're talking a percentage of whatever PlayStation get.
Yes, and we had a discussion last week about how many percent we thought
Cyberpunk. Yes, that was my rant last week.
Yes, if Stadia is I'm going to be generous, 5%. You don't go and try and please the 5%. You go after the 50%, the 30%, the 15%. I'm just doing the maths quickly in my head here, which just went completely up the left. But I think again, the point you've got priorities, and Stadia is the bottom of the priorities.
Yes, at the moment, yes. I don't think even the most ardent Stadia fan would disagree.
It is awful the way the situation is, but I think what has happened is the Outriders has been put out to a porting company, and they have forgotten to put the
to continue working on it.
They haven't done the contract, but I think let's end on a positive note on Stadia, because I think we have to wrap up. 2 hours. Oh my god, 2 hours.
Imagine what it would be if you didn't turn it up at all.
Do you know what the funny thing is? Can I just say that when we started with the concept of doing the roundup,
1 hour.
It wasn't even an hour. I think we started at half an hour.
Yes. Don't know whose fault it is. It's Sammy's fault.
But let's be fair, there's been a lot of news recently. Last week we ran to not quite this long, but we had the Xcloud news, and then we talked about Stadia for about 40 minutes. I don't think we've done as much on Stadia this week.
Yes.
Except the Shadow news. We talked about PlayStation Now for some reason, even though nothing got in that. I don't know. Maybe we need to simplify the show notes for next week.
Yes. What I'm going to end on here, and if you want to add anything, is Stadia tomorrow is going to be in a good place. We are going to have the new pro games. You may not like them, but you can go and play them on cloud. And this is the real great positive thing about cloud is, yes, I'm saying the comment, I'm trying not to laugh. Is you can just jump in and play it. If you don't like it, you can forget about it. And we get Resident Evil, so you can give that a try tomorrow as well. So Stadia is going to have a good day tomorrow. Touch wood, knowing me and the way things go here, when we say we've jinxed it, Stadia is going to shut down tonight.
Not we, you've jinxed it. Yeah.
Yes, I have jinxed it, but I think we definitely need to get a Stadia show going here, and so we can just sit and rant about Stadia for a while and go.
That's a good idea. Maybe yeah,
and maybe call it something along the lines of "What did Stadia do now?"
It's a good idea. Yeah.
Maybe we should take that one to the drawing board.
We'll talk about that over the weekend and see what comes out of that. We'd have to find a time to do it, though, because we're doing something most days, aren't we?
Yes, we are. But thank you all for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this. And this was an absolute bumper flipping show. And I'm just about to get murdered because I said, we're only going to be about an hour here. We'll do the Venus TV on Sunday.
I made the same mistake, Duncan. There was the topic of food, and I was like, be about an hour-ish. We'll be all right.
I had a stream scheduled for 8 o'clock, and then thought no, start at 8.
It's okay. It's raining at the track, Sammy. It's raining.
It's motorsport. They do that. It's IndyCar. They have IndyCar. They don't race in the wet. And
but just again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you real soon. And even though I keep them going, do go over to Sammy's channel and subscribe, because he has got some funky things on the way. I'm just going to say you've got funky things just to get the hype going.
You wouldn't be far off from having a few interesting conversations right now.
Yes. Kitty Wilson. There, I got the Kitty Wilson thing in there.
I don't think I told you. I'll have to tell you off stream. I don't think I told you. I know I told Barry. I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Again, thank you all for joining us. We will see you pretty soon. Remember, if you don't like Outriders,
refund.
It's always an option.